All right. Good evening, Midwest Star Wars fanatics, and welcome back to Midwest Star Wars Fanatics Live. I am here tonight again with my co-host Travis, and man, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. Um, talk about an action-packed episode of the Book of Boba Fett slash Mandalorian 2.5. Um, it was just unreal episode. It literally tied in 40 years of Star Wars in 2 minutes. I would say so. Just it was unbelievable, just what we saw, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I don't know about you, Travis, but I mean, just the way that started and everything. I mean, wow,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was definitely kind of from opening scene all the way till end credits was, kind of like we had talked about last week in sort of true Mandalorian universe series fashion so far. That episode right before the last one, it just builds up a ton of stuff, and then they usually, so far, knock on wood, have made paid it off in the final episode. So, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely looking forward to tomorrow. But yeah, definitely a lot to talk about with what happened last week.
yeah, just it was just unbelievable. And for anybody who's watching tonight, we want to thank you. Also, we want to thank our sponsor, TRG Toys and Collectibles. Make sure you check out your collectible needs over at trgtoys.com. And also want to thank the hashtag show for giving us an opportunity to write and talk about this geeky stuff all the time. So it definitely is a blast to do. But getting into it, man, let's just get into this episode because episode 6 was just unreal. If you talk about an episode that had more cameos and more Star Wars content that we've ever seen in one episode, I mean, we started off right back on Tatooine. I mean, we've never really left Tatooine, of course,
Hmm.
but obviously we start off with your buddy Cobb Vanth and the Pikes. Um, so kind of a different approach as we go into this, and there's already smuggling some spice across and everything. And so I mean, Travis, what was your take on this when you first saw your buddy up there on the screen, ready to take on those Pikes?
Yeah, no, I was pretty happy about that when I started to get like, okay, this may be it. It was like the camera sort of panned down, had like the moisture farming apparatus there in frame, and I was like, okay, awesome. And then the angle that they did was like the true Western angle. Walk in, you see the pistol, and it's like, yes, that's him. But then I started to get nervous too. I was like, okay, hold on now. He's going up against 4 Pike guys. This may not be too great here. I was like, don't do this to me here right off the bat. But yeah, no, I guess we talked about the fact it was going to be on Tatooine. So hey, opportunity maybe for him to show back up. So I was glad to it was a long wait, but it finally paid off to have him show back up.
So we know the spice running is hitting pretty hard now on Tatooine. Obviously we knew it was coming, but now we've seen that a little bit. So now it's starting to affect other communities on the planet. So we're starting to see are we going to push are they going to be able to push this out, or is it going to continue to they're just going to have to deal with it. Of course, that scene didn't last too long. We saw the quick draw of Cobb Vanth take out 3 of them and left one to kind of go back and say, hey, I didn't do your don't do this again, which
Hmm.
later on kind of bites Cobb in the butt, I think. But we'll get into that a little bit. So then we jump into back to the Mandalorian. So we knew from the last episode that we were probably going to go see Grogu and Luke. I mean there was no denying it was going to happen. Um, what I really thought was interesting about this, if you go into like your Star Wars encyclopedias and stuff like this Jedi temple that Luke is building, we notice that it is definitely not. It's supposed to be secret, but yet
Hmm.
Mando found some way to find it. So we go into that. But what was your kind of thought about that when Mando came in and we see him and he, the first cameo we get after Cobb is our buddy R2D2, and they build a little
Hmm.
bench for Mando, and he takes his dad power nap while he waits to see Grogu.
Yeah, I mean, I was interesting as far as the last episode prior with, hey, I got to make a stop first. So I was like, okay, he must want to go find Grogu and Luke. But to your point, I thought that was probably kept under wraps fairly tight. I don't know if they, you know, told Mando like, hey, here's where he's gonna be, because they almost seemed surprised in a way that he showed up. So I'm not. I'm not sure, but I thought it was cool to see, you know, starting to kind of build the temple with the little stone hut and stuff that we'll, eventually see in the, the sequel trilogy,
Yeah,
and the
with
school and what's where it
the
was.
ant
So
robots.
yeah, with those robots put it together. So again, it was kind of just another cool little thread kind of connecting the dots of, hey, here's sort of the beginnings of things that you're going to see later on in the films that were already, out.
Yeah. So the other thing is, we see R2 there, and obviously he just kind of just shuts down, and we're like, what's going on? Why is this happening? And we notice that there's going to be a little surprise coming our way, and it was real quick, everybody. Sorry if you're watching on the Midwest page. I noticed that for some reason it's not streaming there. It should be now, so hopefully it is up. It is thinking right now, but again, we apologize for that. But R2 delays them, and we run into Ahsoka. Like, how was that? Were you expecting that at all?
No, that I figured the last we saw of Ahsoka was, the end of last season, and she would show up again in her series coming up. So to have her kind of just show up was a surprise, but I guess it kind of helps remind people that, hey, she's still out there
Yeah.
and doing things before, her series comes out later this year.
Yep. So obviously, she's in there talking to him, and we're realizing that this isn't just about him seeing. I mean, he really wants to see Grogu, but is it the right choice? And that's what I really kind of like, how she leaves it for Mando to make that decision. And to me, it kind of shows him that now he realizes, okay, Grogu's here to train, and I kind of have to back off a little bit. But at the same time, um, he really is dying to see it. But then we kind of look into the training with Luke. So we'll get into that a little bit with the gift and everything in a minute. But then Luke's doing his training, which I thought was pretty interesting. As you kind of see some of the things with, he talks about Yoda, and he talks, he tries to get Grogu to focus, especially with the frogs. I mean, that scene was pretty good. Kind of lifting all those frogs up, and Grogu was like, oh my gosh, like complete dinner. But during that training, I mean, what were your thoughts? And did you think that this kind of is a Luke that we're starting to see kind of lose faith in himself in a way, because he can't connect properly with Grogu?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the training was a, kind of a fun sort of callback, montage. You had your, the training droid that would, zap the lasers like they had in, in New Hope. You had the backpack riding around doing things like that. Luke in a way kind of lifting the frogs out of the water to prove a point to Grogu kind of reminded me of when Yoda lifted the X-Wing out of the swamp to prove a point to Luke. So definitely a lot of parallels that you could see, obviously, because it involved Luke Skywalker and a little green big-eared, character like Yoda. But yeah, it will be interesting to see, if Grogu doesn't make the choice to stay, then does that, yeah, to your point, does that make Luke start to think like, hey, maybe I can't do this. All the hopes, of the Jedi and everything kind of fall on me, and maybe I'm not capable of doing this. And kind of, does that lead itself to all the stuff that's going to happen, years down the road that we know is going to occur?
Yeah, and it is interesting to see. I love the little, the flashbacks of The Empire Strikes Back, especially jumping around the backpack, like you said. I thought it was pretty interesting that Luke had like a matching backpack to match like Baby Yoda. Grogu, sorry everybody, but you did kind of see that he was very disappointed that Grogu wasn't connecting and doing everything. But what was really interesting, and hopefully we'll get some more answers in this next episode, is when he tries to make Grogu remember. What was going on during Order 66, and we get so close. We see the clone troopers coming. I mean, how disappointed were you that it got left off right there?
That was That whole time, I was like, "Oh my god, we're gonna finally find out who saved him." And it was, I mean, it was a cool scene though, like like kind of shooting from inside the little hover pram thing that he's in, and seeing the clone troopers, and the clone troopers are like, "Wait, there's one more. Let's go kill." It's like, okay, you're really gonna go shoot this little this little baby in a carriage, but I guess what they're trained to do. Good
Yeah.
soldiers follow orders and everything. But yeah, I really thought we were gonna get finally the who saved him answer, but they
If
properly left it a loose end, so they can either reveal it, probably not next episode. I don't think we'll get any more Grogu stuff. I think they'll probably save that for season 3 of Mando. But
yeah.
that's gonna be a big open question, I guess, that we're all gonna be
Yeah. I mean,
wondering,
if they do announce it, I
debating.
mean, who do you think? I mean, part of me thinks it's going to be Obi-Wan. I don't know why. It just part of me feels that somehow Obi-Wan is involved with this. But I mean, who do you think? I mean, could it be Mace Windu? Could it be? I don't know, but I'm going to pick Obi-Wan right now for my money board.
Yeah, if I was odds making, yeah, I guess I'd probably say Obi-Wan's a good chance, just again because we have an Obi-Wan series coming. Maybe that scene's actually going to show up in Obi-Wan, and that's going to be a thing there, like of him, going back to the Jedi Temple to help
Yeah.
save some people, and you can see this little green guy get saved by him. It just in there, they're just so good at connecting everything together between the series and stuff too. So I would say, yeah, it's good chance it's going to be Obi-Wan.
Talk about connect and everything, which this week's really. Whoever thought we would have had this moment on screen, and that is Ahsoka and Luke together talking about the training of Grogu and just overall. I mean, it was just and then she makes the comment, just like your father, which was just like,
Mhm.
wow. I mean, tell me what your emotions were when you saw this part. Now, everyone out there listening as well, please let us know what you thought too, because this was pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, yeah, it was kind of that moment that I think a lot of people were waiting for and hoping for, just knowing again the history of Ahsoka with Anakin and Padme and just everything to do with that. Because I think people too, when they saw Ahsoka show up in Mandalorian season 2, it was like, okay, well, we need that Luke, we need that kind of Skywalker sort of family reunion. I wish, and maybe there will be more in the future. I wish there maybe was a little bit more discussion and dialogues. You feel like there had to be some like really deep conversations between the two of them
Yeah,
in the past before this particular scene where she just said, you know, I, I'll be around. I got some stuff I got to go do. Just like your father, that sort of a thing. So yeah, it was a cool kind of almost like touching sort of moment, just kind of, again, from watching the Clone Wars and knowing everything that happened with Ahsoka and Anakin, kind of how important they were to one another. It was a good, almost kind of closure in a way, probably for us, and then probably,
yeah.
for them as the characters as well.
And then we also got some comments here. Justin Lee, thanks for watching, and Corey Christopher as well. Justin Lee, Dash Rendar will save the day. We're going to hear that all the time from him. But I actually agree with one of these. Luke won't return Grogu himself. Ahsoka will bring him back, which I think is very possible. I mean, that would
Hmm.
probably make sense to kind of get Luke out of the picture for the rest of this episode. He also put Grogu is too old. Yes, the old being the training, which could be as well. And then Corey said Obi-Wan can't be the guy. He watched the cameras to see what happened, but we don't know when this took place, though. That's the thing. Is it happening when? Because if you remember, Obi-Wan comes back and has to fight some clones.
Oh, yeah.
So there is that possibility that it still could be, but I mean, we don't know, and we'll obviously probably not find out the next episode on that. So we did get a lot of good things there, but just seeing Ahsoka in there again was pretty awesome.
Hmm.
Knowing that those two are going to be there, so we kind of go there. Luke doesn't know, what to do. He's impressed with his training, but at the same time doesn't know that Grogu's heart is still in it. So, we kind of go back and forth. You can kind of tell Grogu's not 100% in it. He's like that, that teenager that kind of wants the best of both worlds, but he's not going to be able to have it, which we find out later on. So we cut away from Luke and good old Baby Yoda, and we head back to the planet Tatooine. Now this is where this episode just became amazing. It was already pretty awesome then, but now it's, we're sitting here dealing with probably one of the biggest live action cameos that popped up that I thought was done very well. So we're getting to that. So obviously Mando heads back, talks to his buddy Cobb, and they need some help here. So Travis, I'll let you kind of go on this. I know you're the big Cobb fan expert here. But tell me your thoughts on this and how, and the way you thought it was going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised when Mando said, "Hey, I may have a solution to your problem as far as needing some help." I didn't know he was going to come and try to recruit the entire town. I thought maybe he was just going to come get Cobb. I guess once they started talking that, hey, your people here in town are good fighters. Worked with the Tuskens against the Krayt Dragon, all that sort of stuff. Hey, could you come join us? And I think it also made sense when Cobb was like, no, not really our problem necessarily. Town's not going to just sign up to go help a, I guess, criminal kingpin try to seize control of Mos Espa. Doesn't really, match up with what they need. But yeah. So I was, I figured, they're going to be kind of reluctant. He wouldn't just jump at the chance. But at least in my mind, as I was watching this, I was like, okay, cool. They're going to rally the troops, get together. We'll go join up and be like the team, next week in the finale. But things took a turn that I did not expect.
And anybody out there that's watching and listening right now, I want to apologize. I just had actually a message come through saying that it seems like our internet has been acting up a little bit. So I know we might be sounding a little choppy. Hopefully we'll get that fixed. This weather in the Midwest has some good effects on our. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Corey, I do agree. R2 did have a connection with Grogu. Like it looked like he was pretty excited to see him again. So I mean, it could be R2 that possibly somehow did that. Again, we don't know the time frame, but we do know that R2 was with Anakin or then Darth Vader for just about the rest of the time. For this, it looks like we're back there. Actually, my screen went blank and Travis is back as well. So we'll get through this, everybody. Don't worry. So then again, the most epic part, like I think everybody probably screamed that was watching this at this time, is you see the man with the hat and the long trench coat walking through the desert. I mean, how cool was this scene? I mean, talk about Clint Eastwood, old Western, John Wayne type feeling. This probably was one of the most intense moments in Star Wars history, I think. Just waiting to see what was going to happen. I mean, how cool was this, Travis, to see Cad Bane just make this appearance?
Yeah. I mean, as a self-admitted sort of Cad Bane fan from at least previously up until last Wednesday, when I kind of bailed on that fan club. But no, I always thought he was a really cool character in the Clone Wars animated series. I thought it would be cool to see him in live action. And then I think also from my perspective, being like a Western fan, it was, lone stranger walking through the desert with like the shimmery mirage sort of heat effect over the sand, walking into town. It was just a really, really cool scene and just fit so well. I think it was just the overall sort of vibe of, with Cobb Vanth and Mandalorian and kind of all the stuff they've been doing that really calls back to some of the old Westerns. The one question I do have, and I wondered, was, where's his ship? Why is he walking across the desert? Like, is this old Duro is just like walking across he just, walked from Mos Eisley, or what's he doing? How did he get here?
He probably parked it where, the deputy told Mando to park it, and they kind of walked around.
It's out there in the long-term.
I'm glad. I don't care. That interest was still amazing. We have one comment here. I was freaking out when I saw him. I think we all were. It was done so well. And then of course, and then it's time to draw.
Hmm.
This standoff was amazing. So obviously, Cad Bane wasn't planning on killing Cobb Vanth. I think it was more of a warning. He kind of told him, keep your nose out of this. And
Hmm.
obviously, the deputy kind of took the blunt of the blaster bolts. But I mean, do you think that he intentionally? I mean, it looked like a shoulder shot to me. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, do you think he intentionally just meant to do that to kind of show that, hey, the syndicate owns this, and if you do it again, that you won't be as lucky, or do you think it was he actually missed that shot?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I could kind of go either way with it. I mean, I think obviously I don't think Cad Bane went there with the intent, like you said, to kill anybody. Um, Basically, this deputy, I blame the deputy, you know, the whole for the whole thing, And as soon as Cobb Vanth at the beginning of the episode said like he's new, I was like, okay, well, new guy. What happens to new guys? We have no name for. We've never seen him before. It's kind of jumpy. It was
He'll be the
not
next Black Series figure now. So
right, yeah, they'll do something with him, but yeah, because I mean, you could tell, they did a good job of kind of showing too, because previously in the first part of the episode we talked about, Cobb took out three, could have been four if he wanted to, but took out three Pike Syndicate people on
yeah,
his own. So they kind of showed, hey, he's fast on the draw. He could probably hold his own a little bit, but then Cad Bane, who's probably best bounty hunter arguably from in the galaxy, Boba Fett as well. But yeah, I mean, the deputy being there, you could tell Kyle kept looking over at him, like, okay, worried about this idiot getting killed, and he actually did. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if Cad Bane did that on purpose, because he definitely just blasted the deputy like multiple times, showing like he is dead. So I think they've left it open that hey, Cobb did just get hit in the shoulder, which I think ultimately will be now the motivation that the town needs to join up and help out in the finale here.
yep. And that's I think that's how they kind of left the two. I think we're going to see Vanth again. Obviously, I believe. I mean, they were tending to it. It was a shoulder shot, but I also think that one of the things is you could tell Bane's hatred for Fett. Now we know back in the Clone Wars and stuff that Bane actually helped train Fett.
Hmm.
And also, they have some history, especially with the celebration scene that was, cut out. Um, that the uncut Clone Wars were, Cad Bane and Boba Fett face off with each other. Now, what's interesting is the Bad Batch kind of made that showdown look like it may have happened because if you remember in the Bad Batch when Cad Bane lost his hat, he had that metal plate on his head.
Mm.
So maybe we'll see that history and that will actually come up and we'll finally get that that moment I keep saying that what made Boba Fett the great bounty hunter and what made him iconic to everybody, that hit their history's there. So I don't know if we will see that in a quick flashback. There's a lot that they got to do in one last episode. So I
Yeah.
mean, what are your I mean, you think we're going to see a showdown between those, or do you think we're going to see a rematch with Vanth and Cad Bane again?
Mm. Yeah, as much as I would love to see Cobb come back and get his revenge, I feel like they're setting it up for a Boba Fett Cad Bane face off at the end of all of this. Because you mentioned when Cad Bane was talking about Boba Fett, like, he's scum that worked for the Empire and this and all these sorts of things. So just kind of again should start showing that hey, there's some bad blood there. They know each other, and whether or not we'll get that flashback in the episode. I mean, so far I guess every episode has had some flashback. We had a little bit of flashback this last one with Grogu. So maybe we'll get
Yeah,
one small little flashback. Or even if it's not a flashback, maybe it'll just be something they talk about like, oh, haven't seen you since such and such. You got lucky that
yeah,
time, kind of some, banter dialogue to sort of build up the animosity between them.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just there's obviously we got that bad blood. So I'm anxious to see where it continues from there. So we know the syndicate is getting pretty strong on Tatooine. The question though is who is leading the Pikes. That's what we're trying to figure out right now. And obviously, Crimson Dawn is the number one pick for just about everybody.
Mhm.
I mean, do you think that this next episode we're going to get that answer of who's pulling the strings?
Oh, I feel like if we do, it's almost gonna be like a Mandalorian season 2 post-credit type scene where, we got the tease for the Boba Fett series coming that nobody saw, that was gonna happen. So I must have a feeling that, stuff's gonna resolve itself, and then maybe we get almost kinda like at the end of Solo, where you get this one little quick scene of, Kira pulling up and talking to Darth Maul, and, like, he's the one behind all this sort of all these things. We may get something similar to that where, you know, Boba Fett fended off the Pikes. They've been defeated. And then you see the person that's really in charge get the news and be like, oh, this is most, disappointed. Turns around like it's Kira or it's a Crimson Dawn or somehow they're
Yeah.
involved.
And that's what I mean. I think that is going to be kind of like the the end of it, like the very last second we're going to see, especially if it is Kira,
Mm-hmm.
because somehow I have a feeling that we're going to see a second season of the Book of Boba Fett. I don't think that we're ending on one. I think that this was all set up to make a very dramatic second season. Um, and that's what I find it's really interesting about it. But there's still so many bounty hunters that we still haven't seen that we know that's out there. Now, for those who are familiar with the comics, know that Forloom and Zuckuss are done. I mean, they got beheaded and blown up by Boba Fett in the comics. But I mean, you still got Bosk out there. You still have Dingar out there, which to me it just blows my mind that they, especially with this modification bar, that they have not
Mm-hmm.
included Dengar in this so far. But Boba Fett and Phoenix has been doing something in the background. They had to be doing something while the Mando were cutting to them. I mean, are we going to see Boba Fett rolling with the Rancor down the streets of Tatooine with all his bounty hunter friends that he was getting while we were off on watching Luke train Grogu? What are your thoughts that this is what's gonna happen next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I expect there'll probably be maybe like one more sort of unexpected person show up. I don't think, just again, because there's so much I think they need to get resolved and get to in this next episode that, unless it's gonna be like a 2-hour episode, they can't spend we can't spend too much time going and, meeting up with, friends from the past and convincing them to join up and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So there'll probably be like another unexpected person show up because it'll be just the last episode. But I don't think we're gonna get, at least in this season, the hey, get the band back together from, all the old original bounty hunters or anything.
So, and there's still a lot of cameo rumors that are out there that, I mean, obviously, and Justin Lee even made the comment about Han Solo.
Hmm.
Supposedly we are supposed to see him this season, which still makes kind of sense because we know that, he's a smuggler. We know we went back to smuggling after everything. So, we have that out there. I mean, and seems like we cut out a little bit there. We're right back. But I think that would be just an amazing like way to kind of end it. But
Hmm.
they really, and here's my question, and for everybody out there too, like there's a lot of conversation about, was this really a good series? Personally, I liked it. I like kind of like, going back, knowing how Boba Fett survived, how he's kind of building the power, because I still think there's something else behind this motive. Um, but do you think that we just need to see an all-out kick butt Boba Fett in this episode to kind of save this series from some of the negative and toxic Star Wars fans out there?
Hmm. Yeah, like we talked about last time, I personally wouldn't say the save thing, but in the minds of the people that have the complaints and the issues with the series, I would say, yeah, I think we should hopefully, or need, for their sake, they need to see, the Boba Fett that we saw kind of when he showed up on Tython, wherever that planet, I think it was Tython, the planet in Mandalorian season 2, when he had the stick and he was just like taking out stormtroopers left and right, and it was like, wow, okay, he's still he's still God. He's still a badass.
Yeah.
So I think obviously we know he's capable of doing that. This series' intent was not to showcase Boba Fett being a last action hero. This is supposed to be Boba Fett character development, story arc, things of that nature. Not look how many action sequences we can have, how many people we can kill.
And it's kind of like we had a role reversal in a way, because if you think about, like I said, in The Mandalorian, when Boba Fett showed up, like everybody, it was like crazy. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, you know, Boba Fett, here comes Slave One flying through, here comes Boba Fett destroying all these stormtroopers. And then he gets his armor on and blows up the wrong ship, but still takes out 2 of them. And then he helps, you know, with everything else, and he's like, you know, back to being awesome. You know, so it's kind of interesting how they kind of flip that with, you know, Mando, you know, in those last couple episodes too. So I thought that was kind of an interesting flip. I mean, personally, and I don't know about everybody else, but I think that all these series that we're getting is going to lead into one big epic Star Wars moment. I mean, I don't know about you, I don't know about everyone out there listening, but I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, do you think that we could be, you know, seeing a kind of combination of everything all together for one big movie?
Yeah, it may a movie, you know, maybe it'll be Defender style Netflix with, you know, a mini series kind of combining everybody together. But to me, the thing I really like about it is, you know, it's very similar to what they're doing here, like what they've done with the MCU movies, or if you go back to like traditional comic book style things where,
Yeah.
hey, these characters all exist within the same universe. There's no reason why they can't pick up the hollow phone and give each other a call or run into each other and things like that. Cause that's just what people that know each other do in real life. So why wouldn't they do it here? So I just think it's really cool to see that they're willing to do that. Like, hey, maybe a Boba Fett series, but Mando can show up, Ahsoka can show up. In the Ahsoka series, you know, Luke could show up or
Yeah.
Bo-Katan could show up. Like, there's no rules that say just because the name says this character that the other ones can't show up and do cool things.
Right. I mean, we got so many characters that we know that are making an appearance at some time in one of these series that we still have, like, you know, Sabine, Thrawn, Ezra. We've already seen Ahsoka. We know that there's, you know, there's other Mandalorians out there, which that's a whole nother story. I mean, we could be, you know, possibly seeing, and one of my thoughts, and actually Justin says Boba needs to be the focal, before I get into my thought here. Greg Rutan says great series, does not need saving. Greg, I agree 100%. Unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are not on that same page. Justin said Boba needs to be a focal point of this episode. If it was called Star Wars Bounty Hunters, then I don't think we need it as much. But the show has his name in it, which I agree too. He needs to be the focus on this final episode there. And then Justin said he also loves the series, but you know, leading into everything, I mean, could we be seeing the possible team up of Mando and Boba Fett, you know, helping create the new Mandalore? You know, then we have, you know, we'd have different clans. We have Bo-Katan, and then we'd have, you know, this is the way, you know, not taking off your helmets, and you know, you're already down to 2 people, but yet you still want to keep people out of your clan. You know, there's so much that can happen in this next episode. It almost makes you like brain overload, which mine just about did right there, thinking of all of that. But I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think that? So my question is, do you think that we're going to be maybe 1 to 2 more cameos, and we might not get an answer from some of those episodes, or do you think we'll even get like a drop after the credits, since this is the last one of maybe some of the stuff coming?
Yeah, I'm thinking probably one more, hey, gonna help you out cameo type thing. I'm expecting some sort of post credit end scene that really, you know, sets up Ahsoka or sets up the future for Boba Fett, or kind of, you know, lends itself to, hey, here's what's coming next, be ready for it. You know, like I said too, with the Boba Fett at the end, assuming he doesn't, you know, get taken out for some strange reason and they kill him off, I wholly expect him to show up or be alluded to in the Mandalorian series, season 3 coming up. Or yeah, he's not going to go away, so he's going to be around. You know,
yeah,
so
we're gonna
people
have
think
him for a while. And
even if we don't.
Justin Lee put another comment in here that I actually agree. Justin, I agree with this, and I've been saying this, and I've been told that I'm crazy. But like I said, Thrawn is pretty big. I mean, Thrawn is a strategic person. I would not be surprised if somehow Thrawn is involved with this, and kind of tying everything together. Maybe he's working with Crimson Dawn right now. Maybe he knows that the Empire is kind of rebuilding, kind of, we're in that critical stage right now. Maybe he's trying to start his own thing. There is a good possibility, that, Thrawn and Kira maybe are working together. Like, I don't know. I just think that, like you said in a couple other episodes that we've talked about, characters show up for reasons in these series. And we've had, the Mando, Boba Fett, Bo-Katan, Ahsoka. There's more to the storytelling that's coming, in the future, especially with the series that we have. So I would not be surprised if we see somehow Thrawn involved. I mean, who knows? I mean, like I said, it could be. There's just so much out there right now, and it's just my trying to wrap my head around it. As a fan and everything, is just unreal. I don't care who you are, and sorry I'm rattling on. This is how excited I am about it. This is a great time to be alive if you're a Star Wars fan. I mean, look what we have. I mean, complain all you want, but we have never had this much content to talk about, this much content to enjoy, in our Star Wars life, other than books and, from the expanded universe, which, those are great too. You make your own expanded universe, whatever you want to do. But I mean, am I right? I mean, there's Star Wars everywhere right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were talking the other day, like, we had Mando season 1, fairly long, year-long break before season 2, but now it's just like going to be one thing after another. It's going to be, we had Bad Batch late last year, and then Book of Boba Fett, and we'll have Bad Batch season 2. We've got Andor season 1. We've got Andor season 2, I guess sort of rumored to be renewed, for season 2. We've got Obi-Wan coming. We've got Ahsoka. It's just so much stuff that's going to be coming out that I think people need to realize too, that especially in the live action, stuff that's set during the, the Mandalorian time period, there's going to be so much more content and stories and things coming out that they didn't have to show and make everything start to finish just Boba Fett and doing all these, bounty hunter badass action things, because he's going to be around. There's going to be other ways to insert him in, onto the screen and show him off and do things. And I guess I appreciate Filoni and Favreau and the rest of the group that's doing this, saying, hey, we're going to do something different. People are expecting Boba Fett to be action guy. Let's show Boba Fett dealing with finding a family, with the Tuskens, and realizing that there's more to life than just being a solo out on your own bounty hunter working for other people. So I appreciate them kind of just taking that risk in a way to say, hey, we're going to actually build up the character in a story, as opposed to just, hey, let's just blow stuff up with rocket packs and things like that.
So I mean, it's just unreal. And with all of our excitement we got in here, we just about completely forgot like a major part of this whole episode was, at the very end, after the Pikes blew up the bar. Hopefully Max Rebo is okay. Max, if you are out there, let us know if you made it. You're the band, man. We can't have you survive the barge and then die that way. But we go back to Luke and Grogu. So Luke gives the gift that Mando gave to Ahsoka. Ahsoka gave it to Luke. Luke puts it out there. Grogu's all excited with his little chain link, rave outfit. But Luke throws a curveball at him. And I mean, it's kind of a interesting, kind of a jerkish move, but I understand why it was done. Here's Yoda's lightsaber, and before anyone says it, there is no plot hole for this Yoda lightsaber. If you read my article about it, you would know that it's already been shown that Yoda had an extra lightsaber. So, and it was in his hut. So Luke probably just went through his stuff after he died and took it and kept it and said, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm going to give it to somebody maybe, or I'm going to keep it myself. No attachments, but it's kind of obvious, but do you think that there's a slight chance that Filoni might just fool all of us? And even though it's set up in the comics and everything else that Ben was Luke's first student, Do you think there's a chance that Grogu says, "I want the lightsaber"?
Oh, I guess it's possible, but I mean, I guess unless, but I mean, so far they haven't been willing to really kind of, retcon or change anything that, happened in the movies. So I guess when he says my first student, I have to stick with, yeah, Ben was his first student. So that what people thought was a plot hole when he went off with Luke at the end of last season of, well, how could he be this first if, he said, well, here's going to be your answer, I think, potentially that, we'll
Yeah,
find out in season 3 that, yeah, he did choose to not stay, or maybe he chooses to stay, initially, but then maybe something happens to Mando and maybe Luke and Grogu have to go help Mando, and Grogu's like, I've got to stay with him. He needs my help. I mean, we'll see how it all
yeah,
shakes out in the end, but yeah, I guess at some point I do expect Grogu to leave the school and not be
yeah.
quote the first student any
Well, I mean,
longer.
there's two little things that kind of lead me to both directions. Is if you remember when um, Moff Gideon pulls out the dark saber, and Grogu's like, I want, like you could tell Grogu. And then when
Hmm.
Luke pulls out, when he's training in the Force, Grogu like is watching that lightsaber, and then he pulls out Yoda's little lightsaber, and then it's like, oh, cool. So I mean, that's that. But then also the hints that are out there, he gets his little mesh outfit from Mando. Mando's ship has his little a cockpit already made for Grogu, which would make sense if he's going to be flying around with them.
Hmm.
But here's my thing: is and I'm sorry, I know this is where everybody's going to hate me, but do we really want Grogu? And I know it's the cash cow. I understand Disney is going to do stuff to make them money, but do we really want him to be a big part of season 3 of The Mandalorian when we could have so much? I mean, I don't know if I want to see Mando babysit anymore. I want to see Mando be the bounty hunter that we saw in the Book of Boba Fett, chopping people up with the dark saber. I mean, what do
Hmm.
you think? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see, I guess, at some point in the overall story, whether it's maybe not in season 3 personally for me, but at some point, I would like to see sort of the Mando Grogu reunion of, hey, you know, because it's just obvious there's like that connection there for both of the characters. So kind of keeping them separated for too long is just like, it's like I kind of feel bad for Mando because he really does miss Grogu and Grogu misses him. So I would
Yeah,
like to see some sort of, closure, not like maybe not closure, but just, get back together at some point. But I do hope, like to your point, season 3 of Mandalorian, if Grogu does come back, he's not the primary focus any
right.
longer. Which hopefully I don't think, I guess in my mind, I guess I don't think he would be because season 1 was all about keeping him protected from the people that wanted him.
Yeah.
Season 2 was trying to get him to the Jedi. If he's just going to permanently stick with Mando, now he's just kind of there as like a Batman Robin sidekick sort of thing going around and doing stuff, and won't be so much focused on his story so much, but it'll be Mando's story along with Grogu there as his buddy.
But with the sequels though, we know the people who want him are still out there. I mean, obviously we
And that's
get
fair, yeah.
Clone Palpatine, so it's like what I don't know which way this is going to go. Like I said, tomorrow morning is going to be interesting. Um, but I definitely, am if he does go with Mando, I hope we don't get a ton of them. I really don't. I really want to see, like I said, the darks. Unless Grogu is going to just start chopping people up with them with the little lightsaber. Maybe he'll be like Ahsoka. I don't know. But I want to see what most people want to see, and that's true Mandalorians being Mandalorians. And
Hmm.
I mean, they're warriors, their weapons, their religion. Just like Mando said. I don't know. So we'll see what happens with that with tonight's episode 3 in the morning. I know I'll be up again. I can't tell you how many people message me at at 3:35, like, oh my god, or 3:45 or whatever. Like, you see that and stuff. So I mean, I'll be up watching it. And if it's anything like the last one, I'll probably watch it 3 more times after that as well. So, but with that, I mean, we've had a great show tonight. Again, I want to Justin Lee. I like your comment here, and I saw this a couple times mentioned. Luke dealt an absolute. chainmail or lightsaber. I thought Sicily, deal in absolute. I mean, obviously Luke went down that path. According, if you go, I mean, he was going to kill Ben because he thought it was too late. So obviously, Luke's starting to feel some of that dark side. But I mean, who knows what we'll see there? But again, I want to thank you all tonight dealing with their internet and our technical difficulties again. Those on the Midwest Star Wars Fanatic page, sorry for the late start on there. There was a little glitch on streaming over there, but we're good there. Again, guys, remember you can follow Travis and myself at the hashtag show, hashtagshow.com, hashtag show on Twitter and Instagram as well. And you can follow me at Star Wars Nerd 574, and of course Travis at the Indiana Salone. Right down there, the pointed article things here.
I got
well.
camera right, my left, the screen's right. Yeah, it's right over here.
Also, too, I've got some exciting news for next week's show. Not only are we going to talk about the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett, but we're going to have a couple special guests from the Star Wars art community. A couple artists are going to be joining us, talking about some of their work, talking about Star Wars, Book of Boba Fett, and going from there. And we're going to start talking about Celebration. We're only a few months away from Star Wars Celebration. I know I'm excited, ready to go to Anaheim and get some sun and get out of the snow. But it'll be a very exciting time for Star Wars fans. We'll get some more answers on things as well. Also, we have a small announcement. If you guys remember last year, our Darth Maul charity glasses, we will be doing another glasses. It is currently in the works right now. Hopefully I'll be able to announce that pretty soon. We're going to work out some logistic stuff with that. We will be doing our silent auction again on May the 4th. I'm very excited about this. If you are able to and have a way to donate, we are looking for donations for the silent auction. Right now we have a few autographs and stuff that have been donated, as well as some action figures, things like that, which will be pretty exciting for that. We will be doing, again, I always talk about our Ronald McDonald House charity in July. We're going to be doing a toy grab or charity grab, bringing that as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up. Travis, you got anything else for tonight?
Yeah, no, just please keep my guy over here on my off my back shoulder here, again in the shoulder. I went back and I freeze framed it multiple times to just confirm that I was seeing a shoulder shot. So I'm optimistic that we'll see Cobb return. But yeah, no, again, just thanks everybody for watching. Love technology, love internet. Always goes out when you need it most. And thanks for the comments and questions. Love kind of talking and hear what you guys have on your minds as well. And looking forward to next week and having our guests on with us.
Yep. And again, I want to thank our friends over at TRG Collectibles that help make this possible for us. Remember, go to trgtoys.com. From Star Wars to Marvel, he has quite a bit in that shop, and you might want to go check it out. It's there. Also, again, I want to thank the hashtag show for giving, like I said, Travis and I an opportunity to write and geek out all the time about this stuff, Star Wars and non-Star Wars related. Again, you can follow us at the hashtagshow.com. Until next week, we'll see you then, and may the Force be with you.